So it's now Monday morning. It's 8:30. We just started out from the place where we stayed last night, which was a wonderful Camp Everglades. We're now 5 of us. Got my son Matthew joined us. We're all walk back here. You can see everybody walking. Spirits are really high. Everyone's having a good time now. I think having some showers for some of us. They had hot water and showers, which was a surprise. Really nice. Really got to thank Janet for hooking us up, taking care of us, letting us use the facility, and additionally, even giving us towels. When I said, "Oh, we didn't know there were showers, we didn't bring a towel," she gave us 2 towels, which some of us shared. So, but had a great night last night. It was cool. Really no condensation. Not much of a breeze. It kind of died down, but the temperatures weren't that cold at all. And we had a great time. And actually, being at some of the guys, Steven and them, they have a coworker that lives right up the road. He stopped by, brought some more supplies and food, so we didn't have to cook last night. We had fried chicken, which was great. So I think it's a good confidence boost. We had a rough day yesterday. It was hard going. So I got to say, this trail is challenging. The mud and the swamp and the trekking wears you down, but you know what? Makes you stronger, and we're having a good time about it. So I gotta say, definitely something different. I'm glad I'm doing it. Today's going to be a shorter day in distance, but I have a feeling the water's going to be a little deeper and flooded in the area. So I've got a car coming here. I gotta move out. We're walking our way back to the trail from the camp. Met Al again here today, the gentleman that started the trail right before we started. He stayed here last night too. Take an extra day, he said, now due to the difficulty. He's not going to be able to make it in 4. He's planning on 5 days now. Great guy, 81 years old. Very impressive. You never know who you're going to meet out here. He looks, you just see an old guy, but you don't know where his boots have literally taken him. So it's impressive. And even the group I'm with here, you look at these, I'm obviously a little bit older than them. It's nice to see good young people. You know that this country's in good hands. Restores your faith in some of our youth. You hear a lot of bad things about them, but you don't hear the good things. So the bad always overshadows the good. These are good guys. They're all, family guys. They're working. They're doing what generations before have done. I'm glad that these guys did come out. I think I would have been very hard pressed to do this trip alone. I think it would have been fun. It would have been very interesting, but definitely a little better having some people, and it's made it more fun. People to talk to, share the good and the bad times with, and just in general, discuss what's going on, and meet new people and learn about them, and they're learning about you. And I try to listen to them, let them tell their story, and learn a little bit about them. They're married, their kids, what they've done, where they've been. They've gotten some interesting stories. Impressive young men. So that's going to be it for now. I'll stop rambling on, and we're going to go walk a little bit. So after one wrong turn, slight wrong turn, and about a half-mile road walk, we're back in the Florida Trail, Ocean to Lakes Trail, and you can really see the terrain has changed here by looking at the trees. It's much drier, hopefully, and it stays that way, but you can really tell the difference in the terrain here, so you can see what I'm seeing. So you can just see that the terrain is really dried up. The trees are different. It's just a different feel to it. And I know we're going into some marshy areas again, but we'll take this for now. We're doing a good time. We've been averaging around 3 miles an hour. It's 10:45, so we've done 2 hours and 15 minutes of hiking. And according to my GPS, we've done about a little over 6 miles right now. So we're doing good. So if we can keep this pace up, we'll finish the day a little early and get some extra rest time, which I'm sure everybody will like and needs today to recover for the long day tomorrow. So we just came to our first little boardwalk section. Thank you, Florida Trail volunteers, for keeping our feet out of the mud for a couple of steps. And it hasn't been as wet today as in the past, but it's been really muddy. You know, if we could just get up a foot or so, 6 inches even, I think it would dry out elevation-wise. But mud's tough, it's slow going. So, but just another day. We're about coming up on, I think, 10 miles in. So we're doing really good time-wise on our third day here. It's 12:40, about 12:40 or so, and we've done, GPS is saying 9.6. So I'm hoping, you know, if we don't stop too much more, 2:30, if we can make time with the mud. Definitely by 3, I think we'll be at our campsite. It'll be nice to get the shoes off, get dry, and recover a little bit, give our bodies a chance to rest for tomorrow's push of 20 miles or so. So tomorrow's going to be a very hard day, I think. So, but okay, got a little more mud here. You can see. There we go. That's what we're used to. And it's like, what's the point? As soon as your shoes begin to dry out, you're going in muck. You just got to basically grin and bear it and get in and enjoy it. So, nothing you can really do. Hey Matthew, how do you like this? Welcome to the Ocean to Lake Trail. So, you can see.
Home stretch. Here we go.
Approximately 1 mile left to go, and of course the trail couldn't make it easy. Gotta have some water crossing. So
Heaven.
So it's dinner time here. We're in the cooking area. I'm having some instant risotto. Gordon Ramsay would say risotto. So it came out good. A little watery probably, but done. Looks like Matthew's got some fettuccine. And what kind of sauce is that supposed to be?
Just Alfredo.
Just what? Just
Chicken
cheese?
Alfredo.
Chicken Alfredo. Here we go. We come over here to the MRE crew. They got the MREs. Some of them are on their second one already. We're trying to lighten weight. We're not hungry really. We're just trying to lighten up weight.
That's all it is.
So
This last point he's going to be light.
there you go. And he's got marinara sauce with meatballs. Sounds good. And what else you got there? What you got today?
This is basically like kind of like a real premium chicken.
Okay. So Joe's having chicken noodle. And we don't know about Steven because Steven's busy making a fire pit.
And the bug repellent.
Yeah, so, and then he's going to eat. And he's going to have MRE. We don't know what he's got there. And fortunately, Al's joined us here at the campsite. And he's eating his food. He doesn't cook though. I think he's stoveless. Smart man. He's lightened up. Learned from experience. And he's eating his food there. So I'm gonna go eat my food now before another bug lands in it. Okay, so 1 cup of water, 1 package or half a package of the risotto, and I've added it to the water. I'm gonna boil, cook it a couple of minutes, and we'll let it go. So I'm now making my second thing of risotto. Only makes 1 cup, so I should have made both. I thought I might not need it. Getting a little hot there. So I'm going to turn down the flame a little bit, let it simmer. And we'll go from there. Got my lens fogged up. Let that simmer for a minute or two, and then we'll have some more risotto. Seems to be a mated pair probably that Joe found. Heard them calling to each other. And they're hiding up in the tree. A little hard to see. There you go. Hello. I hope you just enjoyed what you watched, which were photographs and videos and highlights from day 3 on the Ocean to Lakes Trail. On day 3 of the Oceans to Lake Trail, we woke up early and went through our normal routine, which is, making breakfast, packing up camp, doing things like that. Luckily, everything in the campsite, talking about tents and hammocks and tarps, were all basically dry. However, knowing that we had a shorter day today than other days, we weren't in such a rush to get started. On today's date, we had planned on walking just under 12 miles to the next campsite that would set us up for our final day, which was a much longer day of nearly 20 miles. So finally, around 8:30 or so, we started down the trail and left the Everglades Youth Camp. We walked back to the trail, and most of the trail that we had come across on the first several miles were mostly dry with some patches of mud or water, but they were easily navigable, and in many times we could walk around them without getting our feet or our shoes very wet or muddy. We took a wrong turn following what appeared to be the trail while walking off a canal bank, but very quickly realized that we had gone the wrong way. There were more canal walks today, especially in the beginning of the day. At about 10 o'clock in the morning, while walking onto a levee, we ran into Al, who was already hiking for the day. He had started about an hour before us. We walked with Al for the next mile or so till we reached the Beeline Highway. We crossed over the Beeline Highway and once again made a wrong turn. We followed the wrong direction on the trail, mostly because we were fooled by a piece of orange surveyor's tape which was tied onto a tree across the way from where the trail emerges onto the highway. We had seen several surveyors' tapes like this, or similar to them, while we were hiking along the swampy areas, and automatically assumed that that was marking the trail. This was not correct. So once we realized that the surveyor's tape was not the correct direction, our group, along with Al, went in the correct direction down the road. After walking on the highway, the Beeline Highway, for some distance, we found the part where the trail went back into the woods, so to say. While we were walking with Al, we discussed various topics. One of the topics we discussed while walking was where we were staying that night. Al explained that he had attempted to get a permit or permission to camp at a campsite on the trail called Happy Hammock. However, he was told that campsite was already reserved and could not get a permit, and that he would have to stay at another campsite called Soggy Socks, which is a great name for a campsite, I think, especially on this trail, which was a little bit over 1.5 miles before Happy Hammock. And that's where he was going to stay tonight. I informed Al that I had made the reservations for our group and that I had the permit for Happy Hammock, which was why he was denied the permit. I invited Al to join us and our group at the Happy Hammock Campsite. The 1.5 miles wouldn't make that much of a difference in the long run, but every little bit helps. Plus, being that we were only 5 people, I envisioned the campsite being large enough to support all of us without a problem. And even if it was a little bit tight, I'm sure that we would find a way to get Al into the group with us. So, as our group parted ways with Al as we walked faster than him, I wished him well and was hopeful that we would see him that night at our campsite. We had about 6 miles left to go that day in order to reach the campsite, and we were making very good time. This is where the trail became much wetter and muddier. About 2 miles further on the trail, we came to a large prairie area, and there were some benches. Across the prairie, we could see a large observation tower, and we decided that would be a good place to stop and have lunch. So even though it was a little early for us than our usual noon time, we decided to stop there and have lunch. We arrived at the tower at approximately 11:20 in the morning, and this was just too good of a location to pass up. We ate at the top of the tower overlooking the trail and the large prairie. It was around noon when we started walking in, and we could just see Al in the distance, and he had decided to stop prior to reaching the open prairie where there was a set of benches that overlooked it. As the trail continued, we entered what really seemed to be a nearly constant flooded state. There were occasional dry sections and several boardwalk sections. While hiking, we never saw a sign or the camping area that was on the map called Soggy Socks. We crossed over the C-18 canal using the bridge. As we walked along, we came to our first pitcher pump. We used it to top off water for myself and several other members of the group. At this point, I also decided to use my water bladder to carry an additional 3 liters of water. Seeing as we only had 1.1 miles left to go till the campsite, according to the map, I figured I could carry the extra 3 liters that distance without much effort. So I decided to fill up my bladder and carry extra water. I figured we would need that extra water because we were going to be at this campsite for what amounted to almost 18 hours. And with the day warming up and being hot, we would need extra water to drink and also to cook with our dinner later that evening. So that extra water I used to obviously drink more to get hydrated. I cooked with it that evening. I topped off all my water bottles in the morning, and I also used that water to top off other people's water bottles in the morning when we started hiking. The last mile to the campsite was almost entirely in water. Pretty much that was at times, or most times, thigh high. We pressed on, and about 2:15 we arrived at the sign that marked the campsite. By 2:30 in the afternoon, everyone had dropped their packs and pretty much completed setting up their tent or their hammock for the evening. It was really welcome to have this extra time to just relax and recover, as tomorrow we were looking at a 20-mile hiking day, our longest day yet. About an hour later, Al arrived at camp and joined us. We were happy to see him and glad that he had made it this far with us. Al advised that he had decided that he was going to take an extra day to hike the trail due to its difficulty. With all the extra time we had, some people took naps, some of us ate, cooked, and rested. And later that night, we slept. Temperatures were a little bit warmer than they had been the previous 2 or 3 days, and I slept pretty restlessly. The barred owls that Joe found were pretty impressive, and throughout the night, they made a lot of noise. But they weren't the only ones. There were a lot of bird sounds that evening all throughout the night. And that was our day 3. Day 3 on the Ocean to Lake Trail. Or, as I keep calling it sometimes, the Swamp to Shore Trail. If you like what I'm doing on this channel and you like this video, please click the like button and give it a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know what you like and what you don't like. Your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions are welcome. And if you do enjoy this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video. Till we meet again. Two miles further on the walk, we came to a large prairie area. Good boy.